Okay, I'm not great at these, but for an intermediate user, I'm going to go hit new. This is an SVG, so it really doesn't matter the size. I always tend to start with just my default. It's a 10 by 10, 300 dpi. I'm going to switch it to a transparent background and hit create. And so we had a request for a specific O, this one. So what I'm going to do is right click. I know this is trademark, but anyways, for something like this, not necessarily this, go back and paste my document here. Okay, I'll make it a little bit bigger. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to make a copy of this by putting down Control and dragging it off the artboard, just to have a reference. I'm also going to go up to my eyedropper tool in the colors panel there and steal this yellow. Now, I'm going to take an ellipse, holding the shift key to make it perfectly round, and I'll set it to that color that we grabbed earlier. Now, this one, I'm going to drop the opacity down a little bit, maybe around 30%, and I'm going to drag my ellipse underneath of it so that I can work on it and see it at the same time. And see, sometimes it just does this to me. I'm going to go the opposite way. I'm going to drop the opacity down on my circle for the time being. So, yeah, sometimes these things don't think they're on the artboard. If anybody has a solution for that, let me know. I have to drag everything off the artboard and then put it back in. Otherwise, if I select it, it automatically jumps in the layers panel. I don't know what that is. I haven't found a real fix. Anyway, so we need an O, not a circle. So I'm going to use the donut. I'm going to go up here to the top with the ellipse selected and click Convert to Donut. And that puts a hole in here. I'll up the opacity a little bit so you can see what's going on. And so now we can sort of control the size of that. I'm going to shrink this down to where the yellow parts is touching the edges of our target. So I'm just sizing it up, little bits at a time. I'm sure there's a faster way to do this, but I do it this way. So now that O doesn't really match, so I'm going to go back to the ellipse tool, and you have this little orange dot here, and we can move it in and out, just like that. Right now I'm going to convert this to a curve so I can play with it a little bit further. I'm going to take this and this point and pull them just to match that inside curve a little better. Okay, and then we slid outside over here. That's pretty much it. If you look now, we've got an O that matches the outline of our O in the graphic that we imported. So now we need these little shapes. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go with an ellipse again and draw one out. And now I'm going to convert that to a curve. And essentially this shape to me looks like a circle that's got pinched, like a football shape or an eyeball. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take two with the node tool selected over here. Shortcut is A. After you've converted it to curves, you can mess with these points here. So I'm going to select this one and then the one across from it. By holding the shift key, I can select that one as well. So now these are white, those are not selected. The blue ones are selected. And I'm going to right click one of them and say convert to sharp. And so now those are sharp nodes, and these are curves still. So I'm going to take this node and this node, and I'm going to drag them, well, actually no, just use the move tool and squeeze it ever so slightly, like a lemon. And I'm going to rotate it a little bit, and then I'm going to go down here, drop my opacity down a little bit so I can see what I am doing. And I'm going to sort of take that point there And up here I can enable the transform origin, this little crosshair looking thing. I'm going to select that so that I get this point. This is where we rotate from. Right now it's the center. I'm going to make it this point. So I'm going to drag that up to this point, and now when I rotate, it will rotate around that tip. So now I can get closer to where that thing sits. I'm going to squeeze this just in a little bit. That point up. I'm going to squeeze a little bit more. That looks pretty good. I'm not really mad at that. It doesn't have to be dead on accurate. And then that way maybe we can avoid getting sued also. Okay, oops, so I grabbed the wrong thing. Need to lock these on the artboard. Just so you don't accidentally grab it. It's infuriating. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now what I'm going to do is make a copy of that. Just hit duplicate. I'm going to take this one over and drag it to this area. Now you can see that this one has got a little, you can see especially in this outline, it's got a little curve to it. So what I'm going to do there is hit the A key for the node. So I'm going to drag that point to match that point. It's pretty close already, but we can modify this curve here and just pull that up ever so slightly. And maybe we can pull this one in ever so slightly just to match that a little better. It's not perfect, but it's pretty darn good. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go select all these. I'm going to make them, you can see them a little better. And the cool tool is the shape builder tool. Over here below the shape, above the text, this is called the shape builder tool. I'm going to click that. It's S, I guess, is the shortcut. I don't use shortcuts a lot. And now we just draw with our mouse over all the shapes that we want to keep. I don't want those two guys down there, so I'm not going to do them. And then I'm going to go up to the top left where it says shape builder action. I'm going to hit plus, and it's going to create a new shape from one of the things that I selected. So it looks like I messed up there. I needed to select that little piece there too. So let me just go back, double check, we're good there. Yeah. Now hit plus, and we've got a shape we like. I think we like that. So now what we have is this new shape. Turn on and off, and then these two guys. I'm just going to hit delete and get rid of those. Cut them. I didn't have my move tool selected. It doesn't let you delete things unless you have the move tool selected, generally speaking, with the delete key or backspace. So now that we've got that, let's go ahead and put a stroke on this. So with our curve selected, we're going to go up to the color panel here and click on the little circle. That's the stroke. This is the fill. That's the stroke up here. So it's already set to black, which is good. You can make sure it's black. We'll go down here to the stroke. If you don't see this, then go up to Window and go down to see and select the stroke, and then it'll appear over here in your, or you can drag it out into, like I've done with the layers panel here. You can drag stuff all over the place in this. If I wanted to, I could drag it out here. But anyways, I'm gonna keep it where I know where it is, and I'm just gonna keep going with this. So right now it's set to be aligned to the center. I want to not do that. I'm going to go inside looks horrible. I'm going to go to the outside. And it's a little too curvy here, so what we're going to do is set it to a miter. I'm going to go with the bevel joint. And then it's chopped off here, so what we're going to do over here, we're going to up our miter points until we get the look we're looking for. So in our case it's 5. You just play around with it. I'm rolling the mouse wheel while I hover over that number, and so it seems to be that 2 is where it likes to be. Okay, so that's pretty good. Should I go any bigger? We get into trouble. So now we have to adjust our miter again. Maybe we'll try the bevel joint. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Maybe drop the up and down. Just play with your width and your miter joint until you get to where you want to. So now it looks pretty good. There's a little bit of an issue with the this. You know, you see that curve is not perfectly setting up that. So what I'm going to do is, with this curve selected, this is the fill, the yellow part. The stroke is the black part. I'm going to go up to layer and hit expand stroke in the drop down here. It's down at the toward the bottom, 3/4 of the way down, a little further, and hit expand stroke. Now what that did is it turned my stroke into a shape of its own. If you look at the node panel, or the node, you go to select the node tool, you'll see that now instead of having one dot, it just does a line. Now it's 2 dots. So this is technically a shape now, so you can play with it like it's like a donut, just like this donut here. But now, since we can work with this individually, what we'll do is we'll drag that black part out a little bit. I'm going to delete this node here to give us a nice curve. Same thing with this one. I don't want that area there to be sharp, so I'm going to just sort of play with these a little bit back and forth. I had to zoom in a little bit so I just that node. So I'm grabbing another node there. It doesn't need to be there, so I'm going to drag that out and delete it. And that portion looks pretty good, so maybe we can play with this a little bit. And then if we wanted to, we could play with all of these nodes and just get it. And this is like really getting crazy with this thing. We don't have to be so precise, but you do as little or as much as you want to do with these. Can really tweak how your design looks. Just these little handles. This point here is controlling the curve of this line, this half of the line, and then this one up here controls this half line. I've got this one set to sharp, and so it's not really affecting the curve, just this one is. So that looks pretty good to me. Looks like we have a pretty good match. I want to do, since now these are 2 layers, you have the outside and the inside, I'm going to hold down shift and select both of them, or you can draw a box around the 2 of them. Well, maybe I can't. I think I'm selecting the layer above it. So I'm going to group those 2. There we go. We've got our little O. Let's go over here to our good copy. See how it looks. Looks pretty good. A nice, pretty close copy. So there you go. And now you just have the rest of them to do. That's just a regular, probably a regular old font. Pretty easy to duplicate. If not, it's the same process for if you've got a crazy letter. Say you find one that's really, really close, but this part of the E is, just not there for you. You can go to your text tool and maybe find an E that's capital E. Capital E, we'll make it yellow. Sorry, I make mistakes all the time. Yellow. And I think impact is close. Let's try impact. Yeah, see, it's just not the right shape, you know what I mean? But you can sit here all day and try to figure out what font is this. Or you can do like I just did with the O. Line that up just like that. Now we can convert that to curves. I'm just going to drag all of these nodes out together until we hit the end, and then these 2 are too long now, so I'll take those 2 and drag them in like that. until I hit that little yellow spot. And then we can go and select our stroke up here to black. And take our stroke up a little bigger. And we're going to go on the outside on this one. And then there we go. You pretty much have created your outline there. Let's go and select my yellow color. So, and now this has got rounded edges, and so what we do instead of the join down here, we're going to make it miter joint, make it nice hard lines, and then there we go. 2 of our letters are done. And you just kind of keep going like that, and say I don't like this is a little skinny here, and you want to get really proper. You can take these and move them down some, hold the shift key and just take it down a little bit. Select those 2 and move them up a little bit if you need to, and then just tweak to your heart's content. But now you've got nice, you see the difference here. This is a vector, okay? For everybody who doesn't know, a vector is math. It's dots, and the computer knows how long the line is from this dot to this dot, and it knows where this dot is. It's a node, but it knows where that node is and where this one is, and it says it's so long over such a distance, and it just, so they never lose quality. You can zoom in as much as you want. You can blow this image up to the size of a billboard, and it'll never lose quality. This up here is a raster image, which was small when it started, and it looks terrible the further you get in. And that is what is called a raster image, or a pixelated image. And that's the difference between your JPEGs are like this. You can make them in a high quality if you want to print a 10-inch design it in 10 inches at like 300 dpi is kind of the standard. It's kind of a misnomer, but we can go into that later. But the minute you go from 10 inches up to 20 inches on a JPEG, you've lost half your quality, essentially. So that's the way it goes. You start out with a 3-inch and you want to blow it up to 9 inches, that's a third of your quality. You know, it's going to be a third of the quality of what you want, you know, when you look at it in its original size. So that's why we have these. PNG is basically just, this right here would be a JPEG because it's got a white background. You can have a PNG with a white background, but if you turn off the background that we have done here and save this O and an E as a PNG, the background won't be there, but it will be rasterized, and you can only scale it so big. SVG can contain vector images like these curves, and in multiple layers. So I've got these are on 2 different layers, and you can scale them however you see fit. And then if you need to rasterize them, get them to the size you want, then rasterize them, and then you're good to go. You can print and all you want to. But that's sort of a crash course in the way those graphics work. Okay, I'm already going to. Thanks.